I wouldn't do that.
It's recording.
Okay.
Doing nothing to demonstrate anybody.
Yeah, it says it.
Look this
Okay.
way. See the red light blinking?
Are we on?
That means you're on
Are we
camera.
on camera?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I can,
I
okay.
feel like you're being interviewed from the, like you're at the hospital. No.
Do you get a panorama of it? Am
I've
I
got
in it or just Lynn?
both of you. Both of you. All right, now
Okay,
listen.
I'll wipe this
Alright.
artificial smile off.
All right, this is what it is. Okay. All right. Here we are. All happy.
Thanksgiving, you get the day.
On camera.
It's Thanksgiving, 1998. It's Friday, actually Thanksgiving was yesterday. I am a mess because I've been carrying firewood. We're at Scaly Mountain at Stephen's Beach House.
No,
Stephen and Company, Stephen's
say
Mountain
beach?
House.
you mean mountain.
It's in Scaly Mountain, isn't it?
Yeah,
What's the name of this mountain, Steve?
What mountain we on? Scale?
Brown Mountain. Brown Mountain.
Brown
We're not
Mountain.
at the beach.
We're not at the beach. Oh well.
We're not in Tallahassee or anything.
Where do I look?
Maybe I better start over.
You're the only one in the picture.
We should all be.
Now keep it on the,
Barely.
keep it on the interviewee.
Okay, now. All right, Julie, do you want to ask the questions, or do you want me to start with the
Julie,
questions?
you're a natural back there.
Why don't you go sit down there, sit with Papa, and let's start. Let's begin. We're going to begin. This is Papa. This is what started it all.
Are you zeroing in on me now?
I am.
See if
Well,
you
I'm
can
going
see.
to have to say something special.
Okay.
You can see all of us because I couldn't see it.
Okay, yeah, I've got, well, I can see. No, I can't, not yet. We'll start and we'll get over.
Interview us one at a time.
Yeah.
Or get further across the room.
This all
It gotta be
started.
better.
Oh, there's Stephen's man.
Get us one at a time. He's my man too.
He is not your man. Yes.
That's right.
This
Clinton
all
has
started
done good
at
for
Georgia
the country.
Baptist Hospital, said you.
He's brought sex out of the closet. You're way over there.
I will, but we have to go from the matriarch down.
Or
the
are you
patriarch.
focusing in on me?
I am.
You can flip around and look at the matriarch.
I met that wonderful young lady from Waycross, Georgia.
Daddy's giving a monologue. This is like
Who
Johnny
was
Carson.
walking her down the corridor of Georgia Baptist Hospital, burned to a crisp from having laid out in the hot sun all afternoon, wearing a starched white uniform.
Daddy,
And
it
she was,
takes 4 hours.
it only lasts 4 hours. I'm going to start and go right through.
I'm just telling you.
Now, you know, Lynn, after he finishes, you have to tell about me, and then Leonard has to
yeah.
tell Reagan.
And she had on a starched white uniform and she was trying to walk without it touching her body. And I said to myself, that girl needs to have somebody to look after her, and that's the beginning of it. Now, sign me off.
All right. All right.
Good. Oh, you didn't get the date, 19... What was that date when you saw the girl with the white...
1945.
1945, okay. You remember what year for you, Lynn? 1971.
27 years ago, from 1998, she won Miss Florida. And I saw her and I said, I'm going to marry that girl. And somebody said, that fella up there wants to marry you. And she says, he's too skinny. I'm not going to marry him. And then she came and talked to me and found out I had a bright future.
A black pickup truck, nothing else.
Right.
Had a beach house.
And she
though.
said,
You had a beach house.
is your father a doctor? And I said, yes. She said, well, maybe I'll go out with you then.
Maybe you don't have too many ribs, Shelley.
Yeah. And then we went out together, and we dated 2 years, and then we got married, and it's been marital bliss ever since.
Except for,
Except that's not the truth.
Now tell the whole truth.
The truth is she got me a date with her girlfriend going to junior college, and after the date we switched dates because the friend who had the date with the other girl, who was Julie, wanted to date my girl, and I wanted to date his girl.
well, now that's nice.
That's true.
That's
Charles
true.
Phillips, you know.
Is that right?
And we switched dates, and Julie and I dated for 3 or 4 months,
And then I left.
and we couldn't stand each other. So she left to Atlanta, and Charles dated about 6 or 8 months his girlfriend, or a year, a long time. He dated her a long time.
We didn't
Her name was Julie.
stand each other, we just didn't get along.
Julie had a job opportunity. It wasn't standing. She had a job opportunity. She moved on to Atlanta. And the next thing I knew about it, Stephen calls me up and says, "Do you know where Julie is?"
I did.
Well, we're going to make this sound good. And
How
I
did you
said,
know that I was in Atlanta?
huh?
How did you know I was in
I
Atlanta?
think we had kind of cooled then.
Maybe it was
We had kind of cooled. Because you'd have never left if we were at Hots.
We were never hot, honey.
Well, now
You wouldn't have left if we were hot and
she
heavy.
was dating all of the eligible bachelors in Atlanta.
She was dating one guy.
That's not true.
His Pistol Pete Maravich, wasn't he living in
Anyway, she thought about what she had in Tallahassee and what she had in Atlanta, and there was no competition.
There was no comparison.
Right.
That's not
Put it over
true
here
either.
on me, I can hear you.
So, she came back to Tallahassee. She says, "I want to get married. If you don't get married in 6 months, I'm moving on."
Now, that part of that's true, but that's not all true. You want me to tell you the truth?
I'm gonna
But
get
you
right
go ahead
there.
and finish if you
What?
want.
Anyway, I kind of looked around and I said, "Yep, it's time to get married." And no, actually, the truth, Daddy, you told me to get married.
I told
Daddy
you,
told me,
Grandma did.
Daddy told me it was time to get
I
married.
told you it was time to get married and quit being such a wild thing.
Right, that was me.
Wild
So I said, "Okay, Julie, will you marry me?" And she fell over herself saying yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Well, was this in a romantic setting like mine in front of a filling station?
Where was it that we talked about getting married?
Well,
That in front of the.
Well, when I start telling the story, because I remember very well, then I'll answer their questions.
Okay, and then I said, "Well, I'm a poor graduate student." I was a graduate student, yeah, poor graduate student.
You were trying to get
And I have no money. We won't be able to get an engagement ring. And Grandma overheard us.
Oh, really?
Oh, no. My grandson is going to have an engagement ring, and it's going to come from Moon.
Moon's jewelry store.
So I said, "Okay, but it's got to be flawless. I don't want any diamond with flaws in it."
That part's not true.
That is true.
What flaws
It
were.
is true. I looked at the diamond under the
Now
microscope.
tell them who all went to help us pick a diamond out. This is a good story.
Well-
In Moon.
Our budget was, what did it cost, about $250?
I think that check was like about $400.
Really? And so I looked, and we found one, and it was flawless. I don't know who was there. Who was there?
Oh, let me tell you who was there.
Okay.
Lynn.
Turn around. I'm pretty well kidding.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get out of the way.
Now, let's hear the real story.
Okay, let me finish the end part of, do I have to look at that light?
No.
Okay.
You can look over
The
this
end
way.
part of that story that he was just telling, we go to Moon's with Grandma's check. There's Lynn and myself, my mother, his mother, and my sister. And we're all in Moon's looking at diamonds.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes. We had the whole crew there.
Whole
And of course, we had to tell the guy, his name, you probably knew the guy's name.
Lester.
Tall, good-looking guy,
Lester Moon.
Frank.
Right.
And we said we had $400. And he showed us what we could get for $400.
And it cost exactly $400.
And Reagan has the diamond.
Oh, she has a diamond now? Well, it's a diamond.
So, but the true story of Lynn and I meeting, let me tell you the truth, what I remember. Okay. I had a date with Charles, and he had a date with this girl named June. And Charles was Lynn's best friend. So we went to Joe's Spaghetti House. Do y'all remember where
I
that
do.
used to be?
At
And,
Fletcher Park.
yeah.
Appalachian.
No, not Apalachicola Parkway.
on
It was on
Highway 90.
Highway 90, right, Papa. And
Oh, yeah.
we
That's
ate
right.
in June, and Charles, now I had a date though with Charles, but Lynn's date, June. My date, Charles, oh, man, they were drinking. They were having a good time. And
Well,
I
they
had
were
like
drinking.
one drink,
Yeah.
So after that, we went to see Gone with the Wind. Do you remember
I
that?
remember at the State Theater.
State Theater. So we go and we take, we're in
Yeah.
Charles's car,
From here in
because Charles
67.
always had nice cars.
Mhm.
So
He
we,
had
I
a Oldsmobile 442.
don't remember what
That
he
was the
had.
best car you get.
So we
Four-wheel,
take,
442 meant four-wheel, meant four-barrel, 4 speeds on the floor, and dual
Okay.
posi traction.
All right. So
Wait a
then
minute
we
now, let's get
take,
back to Julie.
It had a 400
I'm
cubic inch
talking,
engine,
honey.
They don't care about the engine.
and it
Okay.
would
We
fly.
don't care about
All right, so then
It was
we
yellow.
take
I know you
June
won't hear it,
home.
yeah.
We take June home.
Two-door coupe.
So in the front seat is Charles and me and Lynn. And Lynn bends over and says, Charles, we need to change dates next weekend. In other words, Lynn wanted to go out with me, and I think Charles wanted to go out with June. Now, I didn't have any say, so I'm sitting in the middle of all this, you know. Whatever.
Yeah.
So I believe the next weekend, or could have been the weekend after, we exchanged dates. And we double dated again, and we went out. I don't remember where we went then.
And that was the beginning of the
That's how we
great
started out.
romance.
And then I moved, Lynn was in school, and I was working for the state. I had dropped out of school, and my sister was living in Atlanta. And I told my mother that I was going to Atlanta and find me a job. And she said, well, I will not help you do that. My mother did not want me to go to Atlanta. Well, so I got a hold. Why? Well, I think a lot of it, you know,
I mean, she let Libby do that.
yeah, but Libby was shyer, and Mom really felt like Libby needed to get out more than I did. So I don't really
Well, you
know.
had a state job and you should have stayed with us, what she thought.
Probably thought, but I wanted out of Tallahassee. I had, you know, no really ties there. So I called my sister, and I said, Libby, if I come up there, will you let me stay with you till I can get me a job? And luckily, when I was at the junior college, I took typing and shorthand and all that, so I had something to fall back on. So I went to Atlanta, and I got me a job at British Petroleum as a VP in a big department. And met my roommate. They had an ad in the paper, needed another roommate. So I interviewed with these girls, and one was from Tennessee, and one was from the Carolinas. Anyway, we got along real well. So I moved in with them.
Everybody gets along good with you.
Thank you. So I moved in with them, and I didn't have a car at the time, but the city bus came right by where my apartment was and would get me to my job. And then I finally got me a car, and I didn't care if anything else got paid, but I was going to pay my car bill. $82.32 a month.
Maverick.
A two-door
No,
Maverick.
it was a Ford Maverick,
Maverick.
white Maverick.
And I
Okay.
thought she was the coolest thing in the world because she went to Atlanta and was out in the big city, and I thought that was just the neatest thing in mankind.
Well, you weren't in Atlanta, though, but you
No,
were
but
coming
I
up.
knew you were up there.
Yeah, because I can tell the
I
story.
was jealous.
Right. So anyway,
Huh?
so I moved to Atlanta, and Lynn and I sort of talked through, and I'd keep in touch with Stephen, because I figured, well, if Lynn won't have me, maybe Stephen will, you know, one of those birds might be taken. Because Stephen and I have good time together. So we talked on the phone or whatever, and if I came home on the weekends, you and I'd go out. So,
You would show up.
yeah, I'd just show up, sort of. I'd
Show
call
up on
Stephen and tell him I was in town, and he'd come get me. Because you were dating some sorority girl at that time. You were dating somebody. So then I quit my job. Oh, I got a interview with Eastern Airlines. And they accepted me, so I quit my job with BP and came home for a week. And I saw you a lot during that week. And I don't think I told you I was going with the airlines, because you didn't know at that time. And I left Tallahassee and went to Miami. And I trained in Miami for 8 weeks.
Which I thought was even cooler than
Yeah, yeah. And I remember in my training there was a black girl, and she dropped out of the training because we had to take this course where you had to get in the pool. You had to slide from the airplane. It was one of these make-believe things, and you'd slide in the water, and you'd have to get your life jackets on and all that.
Yeah.
And the black girl wouldn't do it because she was scared of the water. So she dropped out of the course. Yeah, I didn't remember that. And so then I got back into Atlanta, and the next thing I remember, you came up to see me.
Daddy prompted me.
Yeah, maybe he
I
did.
prompted you.
And
I
then-
wasn't- I wasn't
yeah, but
there.
let me tell you
Y'all
why
go
he
up
came-
there. Y'all go up there and see her.
Let me tell you why he came up there to see me.
And it was snowing. I remember one time, it was a bad ice
Oh.
storm.
Well, I recognized quality, and he was too young to know what
Quality was,
what
right.
that
I needed some
was.
help.
Yeah.
So then he came to Atlanta and told me, and Reagan will love this one,
Oh, yeah.
that he's going up to see this girl because he's got to decide which one he wants to marry. Well, honey, I was like,
Oh, a Bill shit.
Her name was
you,
Julie too.
you can just kiss my butt.
I had a list,
So,
Reagan.
yeah,
of
and
qualities.
list of quality. Now, I didn't really know about the list till later on, but I did know that he was going to somewhere, was it the Carolinas?
Now, we're like our list, don't we?
Missouri. To
Joplin.
check
What
this
were your
girl out.
qualities that you wanted? What was the first one?
Big breath.
Well, wait.
A nice body.
No, but let me tell you. So he
That
comes
was
back
good
through.
looking. She had to appeal to me sexually first. I mean,
But
that
see,
was very
this girl
first.
that he had dated in college was up in wherever, and he went to see her. Wasn't that the
Chattanooga.
story?
She
No,
got
she was
too
in
fat
she was
up
in Missouri. Where did
Yeah,
you get
and she got fat. She was
Joplin's where
smoking.
Van lives.
Oh, that turned him on.
Where does Whitney?
Mexico.
Where did
No,
Whitney stay?
Mexico,
Missouri.
Missouri.
No.
Yes, it was.
Now
That
we
was a
weren't
suburb
quite,
then.
we
That
weren't
isn't
quite
nice.
through with this monologue over here.
Right, okay, yeah, let me finish. So, I mean, this is my side
But
of the
anyway,
story.
I'd have been set up.
Yeah. So anyway,
By
he
the
came
marriage.
back through Atlanta on his way back to Tallahassee and said that this girl that he went up to see or something like that had gotten fat and smoked and all
She's
that.
Now, can I say
She smoked.
something? I had no idea that was really true. You mean you really went up and told Julie that you were going to check
I don't
out
remember telling Julie that I was going
contestant
up to
number
see a
one
girl.
and contestant
Well,
number
what
two?
is-
No, I
But-
don't remember
But
ever
I don't
saying
know.
What if the other girl would have,
I've
what
ever
if Miss Julie was fat?
He wouldn't have married me,
So you would have just not married either?
probably.
I wouldn't have married somebody that smoked.
I
No,
said
we
fat.
were fat.
Fat.
Oh, fat?
What if Leonard looked like me? You might
No, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't have married somebody fat.
But, anyway, so
Whatever happened to what's on the
Reagan?
inside?
I know it. That's what I think. That's what
Reagan,
I
I
let's
do
go
too.
say.
I think that's
We
what
go
you
for
should
the-
think.
Yeah,
To be correct.
quantity.
And then you, so anyway, you
And then we
came
decided
back
to marry.
through, yeah, you came back through Atlanta
You
and
forgave
you
me for
said,
all my
I'd like to
dalliance.
get married. And I said, we'll either get married in the next two, no, he said, I'd like to
Get
get
engaged for
married,
2 years.
but we'll stay engaged for a couple of years. And I said, oh, no. We'll either get married in the next 3 or 4 months or we'll never get married. And so I came home and said, Mom, I'm getting married.
Well, now, the interesting part was that you two came and disturbed me in
Oh, yeah,
my
he
easy
sure
chair.
popped.
Right.
I was
Now,
nervous.
Finish. You tell about
Okay.
coming in my room when I was busy reading the
Yes.
newspaper, minded my
Own
own business.
business, and Megan was there, and
back to
Grandma
the
was there,
honorary.
and probably Cynthia, and Steve, I don't know who all was there, David. And of course, I'm having to come into this family. Oh, no. So we go in, and y'all had that couch. It was like an orangey couch. It looked orange. I can't
It was
remember.
I'd
prestige.
never buy orange. It wasn't.
Well, maybe it was
good
burgundy. It was something. I can't.
Rust,
And
and
we're
it was
sitting
just
there,
orange,
and
it
Papa's
was-
sitting in his chair, and he's got these glasses on that are about right to
Hand
here.
glasses.
And got his paper, and he's sitting in his nice, comfortable chair. And I don't know, maybe y'all knew we were going to get engaged because everybody was around.
Oh.
And
It was a Sunday.
it was right. And Lynn said,
Yeah.
Lynn, how did you said,
I
Dad?
think I said something. We have
Dad-
something to tell you.
Yeah,
something.
Dad,
I don't
Julie and I are going to get married or something.
And then I jumped up and said,
No,
"Great."
No, he didn't.
No, I
Daddy,
didn't.
now he's
Daddy
reading the
hardly
paper. He never
moved.
put the paper
I thought he
down.
was a statue.
And he looks up from those half-slanted glasses, and I'm going, oh, dear Lord, let me get out of here. I'll be okay. And he looks up,
And
and
the
it's
paper
like,
folds a little bit. So
It's
you
like-
see over the lip.
he says, it's about time, or something
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah,
everything was
that
okay
sounds good.
then.
I had more emotion than that, didn't I jump up?
No, I don't think you did. And I think Grandma and Cynthia and everybody were real happy, you know.
I was over
What were you in
there
71?
too.
High school, right? You were
Me,
still
I was
in
in
high
Well, I
college.
recognized quality,
I was
so
in,
I told him not to
junior
let
year.
you get away.
Yeah. And so we got married.
And
Am I
tell
right?
about giving the ring.
Oh, so then we finally we go to Moon's, we get the ring, and we come back, and Grandma's sitting in the kitchen working away, and Lynn walks in and he says, "Here,
Here?
here."
Leonard was more romantic than I was.
Well, I told him to.
I had to
Don't
work.
ever do what your daddy did. And Grandma's sitting there cutting up. I think Fanny was in there, and I go, "Oh, Lynn, this is so sweet." Yeah. I mean, basically that was it. So I got my ring in the kitchen, and maybe that's why I'm not a kitchen person.
Probably.
It destroyed me right
And
then.
you lived happily
Ever after.
Right, well, one.
Just like
So
So far, Mama.
So far, right.